Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort in commentary, Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I had a lot of fun with this Raw tonight. I definitely feel like they bounced back from the previous week's Raw, that 4th of July special where you know they half-assed it with everything else going on. This week really felt purposeful with certain segments, had some quality matches peppered in there. Did it have its lulls? I think it did, as all 3-hour programs would be prone to do. But yeah, I really enjoyed Raw tonight. Ashton, what'd you think of it?
I mean, you say all 3-hour programs would be prone to do that, but I guarantee you that if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Mr. Robot or Lucha Underground would have a 3-hour special, it wouldn't drag in the least bit.
I contend that, because I think don't get me wrong, all those properties you mentioned are amazing properties, but I think with 3 hours, that's a lot of steam to maintain. I don't really know if any property could do that. So I have a healthy skepticism about it, but I certainly think...
I mean, here's the thing, brother. I think we're going to find out, because we're going to be doing 3 episodes at a time for Lucha Rewatch this coming season. For this season, not for this coming series.
Right.
So we're going to find out just how well Lucha Underground holds up 3 hours at a time.
That is true. Look, I'll tell you, those properties you mentioned would certainly fare better than Raw does on a regular basis, but I feel like this is a good outing for them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to play devil's advocate there, but that being said, I do agree with you that this was a solid show. I'm not trying to say that this show sucked by any means.
Right.
I agree with you also that there were some lulls, but again, WWE just doesn't seem to have figured out the 3-hour format yet. For more than like 1 or 2 episodes in a row ever.
Right.
They can do a really good 3-hour show one week and then maybe even follow it up with a solid show the following week, but they never do 3 in a row or more than that.
Right.
So, that being said, though, there was some exciting stuff tonight, and John, I saw on Twitter, you said that you have a heat of the night, so let's get into that segment to talk about what you have to say.
Yeah, my heat of the night is simple. Zack Ryder asks for a U.S.
Wait. We're not going to do the intro? Heat of the night!
Well, see, we just did. We're changing up a little bit here tonight. I figured since you did kind of the segue, we'd just get right into it, but there you go. Yeah,
my heat... I used to add, like, reverb and stuff to that to make it sound all epic and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, man, classic TWitWoW. But, yeah.
Hey, if you guys want classic TWitWoW to get back on iTunes and you want to listen to our old episodes before we showed up on YouTube, donate to the Patreon. I'm telling you, all we need is a collective, meaning like 20 people donating $1 a month, a collective $20 per month, and TWitWoW's back on iTunes, and we're not taking a dime out of that because it's all going back into making sure TWitWoW's back on iTunes.
Exactly. Make TWitWoW even greater again.
Yeah, I told you guys during our 1,000 subscriber special that we were going to mention Patreon one time per video and leave it at that. So this is my mention. And for those of you that are listening right now, Patreon is the way to get access to old episodes of TWitWoW. And personally, I'd love to as well. I just can't afford it. Shit, man.
Exactly. Well, neither can I, Hank, But my heat of the night, to get to it. I hate that Zack Ryder came up and he's like, oh, Rusev, I'm personally challenging you. And then he loses later in the night to Sheamus. Now, see, this problem is twofold.
Yeah.
One, it's the classical, crux of the problem. We have a contender that kind of lacks credibility, or they make a bold statement and yet there's no follow through. This is nothing about my hatred of Zack Ryder, which,
if anything, dude, I think you're almost defending him because you're saying like, one of two things should happen. Either A, he shouldn't be the contender, or B, if he's going to be the contender, he should at the very least consistently be winning.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not you hating on Zack Ryder. That's you, logically disagreeing with the writing team, and I'm right there with you.
And the second problem that I want to bring to the forefront here, because one time it's an accident, 2 times you get a little wary. This is the second time now with a U.S. Championship contender that, like, what is it? Is it like open season? Like, really, if we're going to treat the U.S. title this way, because Titus only got a shot because he interrupted Rusev and he confronted him. Now Zack Ryder, essentially the same thing. I challenge you for the U.S. title. If people can go open season on the U.S. Championship, you might as well make it a quasi-hardcore title and give it 24/7 rules.
Oh,
Like,
dude. I mean, hey, like, people are entertained by that if you can do it right. I mean, look no further than the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship that has been getting passed around from person to person.
right? And
Well, I shouldn't even say person to person because a cat has won it. So from entity to entity.
Yeah, and dude, let me just qualify. Like, if that's what you want to do, by all means, because I completely agree with you. Like, that championship is a perfect example of that concept done well. I just want honesty about the championships, because you put forth this U.S. championship like any other mid-card title, which I hate to even say it that way, given the momentous runs that Cena had with it. Now it's just, and I love Rusev, but when you do booking like this where, oh, you want to challenge a champion? You don't even have to beat the champion anymore, which that was bad enough. And you and I took umbrage with that style of contendership multiple times. This is even worse, because you don't even do anything but literally just ask or interrupt. You know, it's just really deflates me, because especially in the last few months on TWitWoW, how high I've been on Rusev. Like, yeah. Rusev, to me, especially with this draft coming up, I really hope he becomes a major player. Him, Kevin Owens, and Corbin are the three guys I'm really looking to become major players. Oddly enough, also all heels, go heels. But, it really, really sucks when you're a champion and you're not even afforded the common courtesy of a proper establishment of contendership. Like, oh, you just asked me? Oh, that's fine. It just feels so lazy, dude. Like, come on, Rusev's a great asset, and I feel like he's totally being underutilized, as is the mid-card pull that's supposed to be challenging him. You know, it just feels so lazy, dude.
You know, the one thing that I feel like we haven't gotten in a really long time that I'd like to see, and it doesn't even necessarily need to be with the team that I'm suggesting they do it with, but it's still something I'd like to see.
What is it?
A tag team member individually challenging for a singles title.
So, like, if Big E stepped up to Rusev and was like, I want to be...
Right, yeah, or if Big Cass stepped up, or the team specifically that I'm thinking of, if Fandango or Tyler Breeze stepped up.
Right.
That's like, don't get me wrong, I love the New Day, I love Enzo and Cass, I even love the Club, I even love the Lucha Dragons. They're all awesome and fun. My favorite tag team right now is Breezango.
Yes, they are really good, and we'll talk about them a little later. But you know what, Ashton? Do you have any heats tonight, or nitpicks for that matter?
Well, here's the thing. This is going to come off as the nittiest of picks, or the pickiest of nits, depending on how you look at it. And it's going to come off as me being very petty, and I will own up to that. But I still think it's a heat of the night, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. A full-blown heat of the night that's also the pickiest of nits. Very interesting. What do we got?
It's a heat of the night in my mind because of how much of an overlying problem it reveals and kind of exposes.
Okay.
And that is the consistent decision to put a microphone in front of Charlotte's face.
I should have seen it coming. I was like leaning in like, oh, what's it going to be? And yeah, I don't blame you though.
And then you heard it and you were like, oh, well, shit, I knew that.
yeah, like anybody that's watched for even a modicum of time should be pretty much acquainted with your disdain for Charlotte, but it is justified. You know, this isn't even me poking fun at you, dude. It's completely justified.
And that's why I said that it is a full-blown heat of the night, because when you have literally, and here's the thing, it's not even like that sort of, oh, boo, you're a bad guy, I want to see you lose kind of heat. It's like full-blown, when you talk, I mute my TV, and the only reason I'm not changing the channel is because I need to see what's going on to review this show.
Exactly.
I'm not even joking when I say, if I didn't need to hear what she was saying and what direction the story's going, my TV would be on mute every single time Charlotte was on TV. If not, I would just change the channel.
That's pretty much where I am with commentary some nights. It wasn't tonight, but there are some nights where I'll just have commentary on mute because I'm like, oh my god, each and every one of you sucks.
I've got, you know what? I'm even going to take some picks at commentary tonight too, but the thing with commentary is they are more a symptom than the core root of the problem.
Right.
Because we've already seen Michael Cole and JBL, and, well, I don't think Byron Saxton's bad even now, but even Byron Saxton, we've seen all three of them be great in other contexts. So it's not necessarily, oh, these guys suck, they're the worst, they need to get off commentary, because they don't necessarily.
Right, exactly.
The problem there is A, production, B, Vince decisions, and C, lack of caring because of the shit show that they're trying to commentate.
I do agree with all of your points. However, I'm going to add that I think my frustration will really reveal itself, because you said something very noteworthy, that it seems like lately they're just always putting the microphone in front of Charlotte's face.
Yeah.
Now, if Sasha becomes champion, which I really feel like is an inevitability, I would hope that she gets just as much, if not more, mic time than Charlotte got. And if she doesn't, I don't want to be so quick to say, oh, it was because of nepotism or favoritism or whatever terminology you want to use, but it is going to reek of that to me. Because if you're going to put a woman who is inadequate, and that's putting it nicely, on the microphone and give her this much time, people should know that Sasha Banks is a talker. She can work the microphone well, and this and that. Really, if you're going to put the belt on her, WWE, don't half-ass it. Really promote her and put that microphone in front of her face as often as you do Charlotte. That's my thing. I'm looking for, I guess you could say in a word, egalitarianism as far as mic time goes. You know, for good and bad talk. Because, look, we're going to suffer through bad talkers. It's inevitable. But at least give us the treatment of, oh, these people are really good. Hear them say something. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. I think that this is kind of an issue that stems from the whole idea that the WWE isn't a meritocracy when it really should be.
Exactly.
The best mic workers don't necessarily get the mic time, and they should. And the worst mic workers aren't necessarily covered up in that respect, and they should be.
And you know what? It's a shame that WWE isn't a meritocracy, to your point, because I'm not saying it does completely, because I don't want anybody jumping down my throat, but it does somewhat, in my opinion, undermine the whole concept of a performance center in the first place. Because if you're not working your ass off to get better and really hone your craft, when you know that really crappy people are going to be given mic time and this and that anyway.
Well, I mean, dude, the thing is, like, from what I understand, they had Charlotte with her dad for as long as she was to try and have him kind of rub off on her in the mic skills department, and it just didn't happen.
But see, again, I go back to the point. I'm not saying completely undermines the idea of a performance center, but still, like, you should have kept her down there then and had her, like, attend every promo session.
Well, and again, though, that kind of plays into my hate of the night, which is, like, the lack of meritocracy, because the reason Charlotte was called up wasn't because she was ready, it was because of her name.
Exactly.
That's, like, if you were going by who was the most ready, the people that would have been called up for the Divas Revolution would have been Sasha, Becky, and then either Bayley or Emma, not Charlotte.
Exactly. I completely agree with you on all counts, dude. And it's a system that's not going to change anytime soon, which is sad, because this isn't even me saying, oh, Charlotte would, never be good or this and that. It's just like it wasn't her time. And I think I even said that on a TWitWoW quite a while back. In fact, I remember the exact phrase I used. I said, Charlotte isn't ready for prime time. She's not prime time. And she still isn't all this time later. And, it's really sad, but hopefully Sasha can turn the tide soon and we can really get invested in the women's division after that, because her reign has a lot of promise if done right. So,
yeah, brother. All right. So I think I'm fresh out of major complaints about this show. Do you have any other?
No, we can. So you're good. I'm good.
And to be clear, just to be completely and totally transparent, I am definitely 100% signed on to your complaint about the Ryder situation.
And likewise, I'm definitely signed on to your complaint that WWE should have more meritocratic, I guess you could say, elements.
Damn, homie, you pulling out the $11 words tonight.
I know. I'm a Scrabble champion. Not really. I lied. I need to puff myself up. But anyway.
Oh my god, that was so self-aware.
I know, right? But anyway, let us get right into our Monday Night Raw review. And we open up with a great image. All these superstars already in the ring. We have Apollo Crews making his entrance. This is the Battle Royal to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship for Battleground. And Miz starts talking while Apollo's making his entrance, saying it's the 98th day. I love that they're just keeping track of all the days they've been champion of the Miz World Tour as Intercontinental Champion, and it's the tour that's never ending. So just talking on and on about how great he is. And we have a Battle Royal. Now, Ashton, I know because you were helping your family, I don't think you saw much of this Battle Royal. I think you saw the final minutes, correct?
I saw the first minute and the last, 3 or 4 minutes.
That's fine. I know you already ran down the list of eliminations on TWitWoW. Did you want to do it again here or no?
I figured we could really just kind of get a little bit more into it because I was around to see Aiden English get eliminated, but then I was gone until the final 5 where it was still Rio, Ziggler, Cruz, Corbin, and Young.
Well, I can tell you this, and I wish I had an exact number, and I apologize for the fact that I don't, but Baron Corbin dominated this.
Nice.
He was a beast. And you know what I love? And I got to give commentary credit here because we always shit on him in every opportunity. Compliments should work the same way. They noted that his Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy was out on display to intimidate the other competitors. I like that. I thought that was a nice touch. It's not too much, but it's enough to say, hey, guys, I'm a heel. I've been in this spot before. I've got a chip on my shoulder. I'm damn proud of it. You should be afraid of me in this match setting. I had picked, guys, Apollo Crews to be in it. And you know, honestly, yeah, it was part hubris because everybody knows here that I have been saying that Apollo Crews is going to end Mrs. Reign. I still hold on to that belief. And secondly, to be honest, given reports that you and I had read or that we had talked about together, I didn't know how seriously they were going to take Darren Young with this whole make Darren Young great again thing. Yeah. I'm happy they're doing what they're doing. Let me emphasize that. This is not a slight against Darren Young. He deserves this, man. Like, I'm happy for him. I just didn't think they would take it that seriously.
Well, and to be fair, too, they kind of did pull the bait and switch on you with Apollo because he's the only person in this entire Battle Royal that got his own entrance on TV.
And that was another reason why I'm like, oh, man, is he winning? Like, you know, so I'm still holding true, like, because I don't think Darren Young will be successful at Battleground. Also, a weird way, that's what I wanted to ask you as a Darren Young fan. And since you saw the final few minutes, what did you think about the way he won? Was it in line with the gimmick? Had it be more credible?
Dude, if this entire gimmick is just going to be him being dipped in shit and being lucky at everything and kind of maybe even eventually kind of turning that into a heel gimmick where like he doesn't ever earn anything, he just kind of lucks into everything, that might be the coolest thing ever.
And you know what's crazy, and not to get political, because for the 1,000th time we're not a political podcast, but the whole
thing is... Are you sure? I mean, there's a lot of politics in wrestling.
That is true. That is true. Duly noted, my friend. But yeah, I mean, we talk about the whole make Darren Young great again. Well, obviously that comes from Trump, make America great again. When you think about Donald Trump,
and it's
strikes
so
me as a guy.
Funny too, because like, holy crap! Can I just say, the guy that's been making all of these amazing breaking news stories that end up coming true before even Meltzer said anything about them, the Angry Mark, said they were going to drop the whole make Darren Young great again thing because when Kurt Angle comes back, his gimmick is going to be making SmackDown great again.
Right.
So, I don't know, man. Either he was wrong or this is just a flash in the pan before the Darren Young bubble gets popped.
Well, I'm hoping it's the former, though that's not likely given his track record. But what I was saying when I invoked Trump, he strikes me as a guy that probably lucked into a lot in his life. You know, I think about, oh, my father gave me a small loan of $1 million, you know, kind of reeks of that kind of stuff. So it's actually really on the nose and pretty apropos. But Darren Young is meant to be taken as a babyface. I will say, too, I don't know necessarily how I feel about how he won this thing. I think I would have liked a bit more drama between him and Baron Corbin, and maybe Darren Young pulls it out and they could just play up like, oh, you know, Bob Backlund's coaching really is working. But I will say this. I still love Bob Backlund and Darren Young together. Dude, that celebration they had where Bob Backlund picked up Darren Young, it just had me smiling like an idiot from ear to ear. That is such great imagery, dude.
Dude, did you see the video of Backlund holding himself up down an escalator?
No.
Oh my, he is a freakishly strong human being, and he's 67 years old.
Dude, that's which makes me think.
You know how on escalators they have like the rubber bars as the handles that kind of go up and down with the escalator?
Right, right.
He was holding himself up by the rubber bars, and he had his feet straight out, not even on the escalator. He was just using his arms to keep his weight up.
Jesus Christ.
He's a monster, and he just freaking grabs Darren Young and lifts him up. Oh, my God.
Dude, it makes me think that all the crazy shit that he says about training and this and that he really does live by that shit.
Yeah, like, dude, like, this almost, I know this is going to be sacrilege because OMG part-timers, no, but it almost makes me want another Backlund run.
Dude, you know, like...
If they would do some kind of an angle where we ended up with a Backlund-Darren Young tag team match, I would be down.
I think I would be too, and that's terrifying on so many levels. But yeah, I mean, Darren Young...
Wang!
Chicken Wang! Oh, God, now it makes me think of Morty Scurll, and oh, God. Chicken Wang! Oh, my God, so
I'm
good.
making a shirt, by the way, people.
Yeah, buddy.
It'd be a silhouette of Marty Scurll with his hands out after he does the chicken wing taunt with the word chicken wing at the top, and that's going to be it. It might not even have that. It might just have the word villain on the top. That'd be pretty cool, too.
Yeah, I already showed Ashton the Marty Scurll shirt that I want to get, but depending on how that shirt goes out, I may have to be like, well, I'm going to buy this. So, yeah, buddy. But yeah.
The first shirt of ours that you would buy.
Exactly, yeah. Big momentous occasion there. But Darren Young and Miz have a stare down. Miz holds up the Intercontinental title. So what do you think about this matchup, Ash, and Darren Young-Miz Battleground?
I love it. I think that this is the perfect way to get Darren Young over as a babyface to start things off.
Now, be honest here, and I think I know how you're going to answer anyway, but I want you to speak for yourself. Do you think this is just, oh man, Darren Young, really cool title, and he's going to quickly simmer out, or do you think this can be sustained, this momentum? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I legitimately don't know. If you would have asked me before I heard the Angry Mark say what he said, I would have been like, oh yeah, dude, Darren Young's winning the title. I would have legitimately said that, but now I'm a little bit on the uneasy side. I don't know.
Wow, I got to be honest, because I know you're a fan of Darren Young, and he's growing on me too with this. Like, I'm loving where this is going. To say that you thought he would have won the title before the report, let's just make that perfectly clear. That does kind of surprise me, because to me, I don't know, could he win the title? I think Miz has been champion for long enough that he could really drop it at any time, and I've been enjoying his work. That's not to shirk him in the slightest. But I don't know if Darren is more just a title defense for the sake of a title defense to keep the reign going, or if he really could be like a guy that ends it and goes on his own run. I'm open to both possibilities. I'm happy for him that he's getting the spotlight. I mean, hell, if Titus was able to have a program for the U.S. title, Darren certainly deserves a program for the IC title. And yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes.
Yeah. All right. So now, do we want to move on and talk about what happened next?
Yes.
Okay, Shane and Stephanie McMahon were in their office speculating on what Vince was going to be showing up for tonight. And then Seth shows up and says, Vince is here to talk to me. And then he says that he has footage that the world needs to see. That rhymed. And then Shane suggests, well, that would be perfect for the Ambrose Asylum. And then Steph's just like, no, that's not happening. And then Seth's just like, well, I've got my own talk show experience. I almost replaced Jon Stewart as the host of The Daily Show. And they're just like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then Stephanie was like, Shane, you weren't here. Don't worry about it. It was great. And then Seth is right. So I want to do the very first edition of The Rollins Report.
What'd you think of this?
Alliteration.
Yeah, for the win. Yeah, I enjoyed this. It was simple enough. Rollins healing it up and Stephanie, just supporting Rollins, but not, overtly and explicitly like when they were in the Authority. Just like, no, you got the green light, Seth, go and have fun. And Shane's just more, this is on you. So good stuff. Kept the show moving.
Yeah. I think that this was just kind of I'm going to say this was an unnecessary segment because the Rollins report ended up happening, and when it happened, they had the graphic all prepared and ready, and they made it seem like it was more improv here, so this kind of clashes with that.
So you feel like it would have just been better to not do the segment, but just have commentary kind of like, put in, and for the first time ever, Rollins has his own talking segment, maybe have that inflection of surprise, Rollins report, all that stuff. Have commentary do the job, if you will.
I would not, you could have even, if you wanted to have the big, like, just in case you weren't on social media when it was announced and, they talked about Vince being on Raw tonight, you could have Stephanie and Shane talking about, what's our dad going to be showing up tonight to say? What's he going to do? Maybe he's going to talk about me. Maybe he's going to talk about me. Oh, hey, by the way, did you hear Seth is doing a new talk show tonight? He calls it the Rollins Report. And Shane could be like, no, I didn't hear about that. I thought we were going to have an Ambrose Asylum tonight. And Steph was like, yeah, no, I canceled that because Seth has his own talk show now. And you could play it off like that. And then Seth comes out and he's like, I have been working all week to get these graphics ready and to be prepared with this. I interviewed Roman Reigns and here's the footage. And then you could go into, because that makes it actually seem like it's actually real. Whereas
yeah, I
what
really
we thought was more just like, oh, hey guys, I have an idea. And then, oh wait, it's actually all been prepared ahead of time, actually.
Right. I really like your idea because one, it still plays on the tension between Shane and Stephanie, through conversation, which I like, especially given the events of tonight's Raw. And two, to your point, it doesn't feel like, I don't want to say rushed, but more like, last minute, sudden, whatever word you want to use. It does feel like, oh, this is something I organically prepared because I'm Seth freaking Rollins. And he even said Seth freaking Rollins, which I love. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, so that was that segment. Up next, we had, before we even move on completely, because we got a bunch of Brock stuff. They were talking about Brock and his UFC fight, and then the fact that he's facing Orton at SummerSlam and all this stuff. But, like, I don't think that the WWE could be any less subtle if they were trying to be less subtle. Because there were two quotes that came out, I think it was today or yesterday, one from Vince and one from Triple H. And Triple H said something about how much of a freak athlete Brock is. And Vince said, and I quote, Brock is the best combat athlete in the history of this country.
Oh, wow.
And that was like, I mean, he's kind of hedging his bet a little bit by referring to it as only being this country rather than in the world or the universe or whatever. But at the same time, then tonight, JBL literally quoted Vince without even saying, Vince said, he just said it as if it was his own thought. Like, he literally said, Brock is the best combat athlete in the history of this country, as if it was his thought, even though we knew from before that it was a Vince quote. So that's just like it's just another kind of step away from subtlety, because that's just further proof that Vince is in these guys' ears telling them what to say, because that's from his mouth directly.
I wasn't aware of any of this. I did hear that line from JBL, and I did think it was his, so this is very illuminating.
Yeah.
And yeah, face palm all around. Like, get out of their headset, dude.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like... And then regardless, I mean, it's one of two things. It's either Vince in his headset or JBL being that much of a kiss ass that he wanted to quote Vince and get like that rub and be like, oh, look, Vince, I quoted you. What do you think of that? You know what I mean? But I guess JBL doesn't really come off as that type to me.
I don't know.
Off as like the kiss ass type to me. He's got his own shit going. Like, he doesn't really need this job.
Right.
Like, if he wanted to say whatever he wanted, he could. He doesn't have to be this like ass kissing monkey, you know?
Right. Yeah, I get you, man. So yeah, again, Vince, get out of their headsets, dude. Just let them do their own thing, because I guarantee you, commentary will probably be 10 times better as a result. I really do think Vince is the crux of like a lot of their problems. I mean, that and the overpromotion of other stupid shit. But again, with WWE structure, and we have to bear that in mind specifically, I don't think such things can be avoided. But Vince in their headset, yeah, that totally can be. Like, ease up on the gas, dude.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, exactly. All right, so now do we want to move on?
Absolutely.
Okay. Ryder and Rusev backstage. Zack runs into Rusev, challenges him for the U.S. title face-to-face, but then Sheamus sneak attacks him from behind.
Yeah, and then Sheamus, I think because he was feeling salty about, the elimination tag match last Monday and then losing to Zack Ryder on SmackDown last Thursday, just kind of rubs it in his face. And then Rusev and Lana, I thought Rusev was going to continue the beatdown on Ryder. I loved what he did, though, so much more. They just step over Ryder, not even really acknowledge him, and walk off. It's so good, dude. I fucking love Rusev.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Man, so anything else you want to say about this?
I don't think so. I mean, it's we'll have more to talk about when we get to the match, which was actually next, Sheamus versus Zack Ryder.
Not really much to say here. I mean, I thought it was a good back and forth. I do like the drop kick off the apron that Ryder does, and he got a sick broski boot in there. And then he goes for the elbow drop, which he actually beat Sheamus with last Thursday on SmackDown. Sheamus had it scouted this time, though. He straddles Ryder on the top turnbuckle. Ryder falls off. And, because of that, Sheamus bro kicks Ryder and he gets the win. Again, not taking the piss out of Ryder. I mean, yes, I did have a good chuckle about it. There you go. But if he's going to be a U.S. title contender, why not just beat Sheamus? And if you're going to have Sheamus win, why not have him get the win on SmackDown, your B show, and then maybe Ryder bounces back and he beats Sheamus on Raw? Yep. I would prefer if he beat Sheamus twice, really make a strong contender. But if you're going to do this half and half bullshit, why not have, when he's issuing the challenge in the preceding segment, him get a win to follow that segment? Makes perfect sense to me. I don't know why it didn't to the WWE.
I mean, I think that they kind of booked themselves into a corner here, because at the end of the day, I'm guessing that they didn't go through with that because they just didn't want to have Sheamus lose 2 matches in a row to someone like Ryder.
then honestly, because you're so content, and I'm not meaning you, I'm meaning WWE, to have the League of Nations member associate with each other without them being the League of Nations, why not have Ryder beat Alberto Del Rio on SmackDown?
That's actually exactly what should have happened, and then he could beat Sheamus tonight to really kind of reaffirm that he's actually better than people think he is, and that kind of thing.
Exactly. Thank you, Ashton, because, like, to me, that's not so hard. Really isn't.
I mean, I would have suggested, even if you didn't want to do that, even if you wanted to just kind of fix what happened tonight rather than, kind of rewriting history and trying to fix what happened back on SmackDown, you could have just had him beat Heath Slater, and then you could have had Titus versus Sheamus. Titus didn't have to win tonight.
Yeah, he really didn't.
He's not in any kind of title picture. You could have had Sheamus beat Titus to get that credibility back, because Titus is a big, scary dude, and then you could have Zack Ryder beat Heath Slater and reaffirm, like, yeah, I'm coming after you, Rusev, suck it.
Exactly. I love that idea. I think it's so much better than how they handled this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is my biggest gripe with the whole show. Is like, and even our good friend Lee Clark, on Twitter pointed out, like, what the hell is this shit? You lose and you challenge for a U.S. championship. And the more I pondered, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. It's going to be a heat of the night because, again, we've gotten on them for, you beat a champion and then suddenly you're number one contender when you beat the champion, you should be the champion. Right. And now this is even worse. They've actually taken a step backwards. I didn't think they would, but yeah, we're here. So there you go.
Congratulations, Vince. You're getting worse.
Exactly. I didn't think it was possible. I thought you bottomed out, but you proved me wrong. So kudos to you, you old fart.
That is a feat.
Yeah, it is.
And not the pedophilic kind.
Yeah. All right, so after that, Sheamus is walking to the back, but Rusev, he comes out. I honestly, dude, for a second thought, is Rusev going to pull that shit that he did with Cesaro a few weeks ago, where after Cesaro won that Fatal 4-Way, Rusev's like, we're going to do the title match right now. I thought he was going to do the same thing to Ryder, to be honest. But no, he puts him in the Accolade when Ryder actually tried to fight back. He got some punches, but then he got kicked in the head, put in the Accolade, and then Rusev does like that body scissors kind of variation where he kind of just envelops them in the hold. And he's like, I accept your challenge. I accept your challenge. He lets him go, and then he poses with the title. Oh, my God. Dude. Honestly, and I can't
How high up in your Fave 5 is Rusev right now?
Honestly, dude, like, and what I've said on Twitter and what I, will say on Pweetov and other forums, my top 5 is constantly changing, with the only constant being Mundo at number 1, obviously.
Oh, no. I'm just talking WWE top 5, though.
Oh, WWE top 5? Definitely top 3. Oh, definitely top. He is so good.
Okay, so then the question becomes, is he above Seth and or Owens?
He's not above Owens. I think Owens is number 1, but you know what? There are some times where, and again, like, it fluctuates, but there are moments, where Rusev does overtake Seth Rollins for me. Like, I think he is on top of his game right now, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but you heard it here on TWitWoW. I don't think it'll happen, but I actually kind of hope that Ryder beats Rusev, because I feel like that U.S. title would service Ryder better at this point than Rusev, because if you're going to have contenders that are a joke, Rusev isn't a joke. Rusev, to me, when they introduced that SmackDown World title, could be a top contender and even holder of that championship. So I'm going to
maybe. It's going to be AJ's championship, though, and AJ's heel.
And I agree. Like, SmackDown is going to be the AJ Styles show, and I could even see him, and I don't mean this in a bad way, as almost like the Triple H of that show, where he just consistently has runs with those titles, and he is the heel to beat.
Yeah,
like
that SmackDown title to AJ is going to be the IWGP Intercontinental title to Nakamura.
And I would agree with that assessment. But
like, maybe it's not designed specifically to be his, but at the end of the day, we all know it's his.
Exactly. But my thing as well, and I've said this before, and we'll probably hash this out again when we do our fantasy draft.
On Friday,
people, get at it. Is that I look at
this week is stacked, dude.
Yeah, it is.
You got to also remember. Oh no, you know what? Never mind. I thought for some reason that Battleground was this coming Sunday, but it's the following Sunday, so never mind.
But yeah, just to continue our conversation about SmackDown, like, while I agree with you as AJ is the centerpiece, that my mentality about SmackDown, to put it a certain way, is it's like a petri dish for the younger up-and-coming talents. Now, Rusev doesn't necessarily fit that mold because he's been around for a while now at this point.
Yeah, No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but I don't feel like the best of Rusev has shown itself yet. And I feel like SmackDown could be that venue where it does. So yeah,
I'd have like a Mark Henry Hall of Pain run in SmackDown.
Fuck yes, dude. Absolutely. And for Ryder, and again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm feeling incredibly sincere right now. You give him the US title. whether he goes on SmackDown or Raw, you give him a solid mid-card run this time. That means not jobbing him out next week or the following day or whatever. Give him a run. Have him earn that babyface fire.
Give him
and
like
then,
the Dolph Ziggler Intercontinental title run.
Exactly. You can really help both guys out because I'm going to be honest. I think Rusev is better than the U.S. title at this point. I felt that way for a while. That's not to denigrate Ryder.
Would you think that way, though, if he was winning it fresh off of a bunch of John Cena Open challenges? No.
If he was winning it off a bunch of fresh John Cena Open challenges, I don't think I'd say it, but I'd be pressed to still because I just feel like Rusev's work lately, he's a loser. Just so good as a heel. And I just really hope he gets drafted to SmackDown so he can really spread his wings and fucking soar, dude. He
really is kind of like a more contemporary Mark Henry, too, because he's got like that big size and that intimidating look, and he's got like a natural charisma to him that most guys his size don't have.
And the best upside is unlike Mark Henry, we haven't realized his greatness too late. Like, right. I still feel like we could take advantage of it and make quality freaking television.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but can I stomach it? I'm rooting for Ryder. Oh, God, the internal bleeding. Oh, okay. Do you have anything you want to say about any of this, or can we move on?
Well, I not about this, but I wanted to kind of toss out there that we're covering a lot of stuff this week, guys, and this, obviously, you're getting Raw, TWitWoW right now. I don't think we have anything planned for tomorrow, but then Wednesday, Lucha Underground Ultima Lucha 2 live reactions to Part 2, and TITWoW and TWitWoW, and then NXT TITWoW and TWitWoW, and then on Thursday, Cruiserweight Classic live reactions, and then on Friday, what did I say about Friday, John?
Fantasy Draft.
Exactly.
Yeah, huge freaking week, guys.
Yeah, this is a really stacked week if you're a TWitWoW fan.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's
again, that's why I say we put out 7 videos a week minimum, because this week we're putting out 9.
Yeah, fucking crazy. Yeah,
actually, 10 if you count the live reactions to the SmackDown Commissioner reveal.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And guys, it's just the tip of the iceberg because this summer's going to be insane. I mean, we're already in
G1 starts next week, people.
Oh my God, get ready, guys, because it's going to be...
Did you say it starts on the 18th or was it the 17th?
18th.
That's a Monday. That's weird.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God, which means we have G1. Yeah, I mean, we got G1 Climax that day and Raw TITWoW and TWitWoW. Wow.
And it's the episode where we're going to get Ambrose Rollins and the GM reveals.
Oh my God, so much is happening. With that said, though, do you want to move on?
Breezango versus the Lucha Dragons.
You love these guys, so I want you to talk about it. What did you think about all this?
I love these guys so much. Breezango is my favorite thing right now. I want them to have their own sitcom, but no laugh track. That's lame.
I agree. Laugh tracks are for marks. Looking at you, Fuller House, do better.
Looking at you, Big Bang Theory, do better.
But let me ask you something. As a huge Breezango fan, because I mean, you're significantly a bigger fan of these guys than I am. I mean, I love them, but I mean, clearly you're like in that Mark stratosphere, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
Do you objectively feel like these guys could be tag team title contenders or even holders?
Yes.
You really do.
With the New Day holding the titles, yes. If you put the titles on the Wyatts, maybe not. If you put the titles on the club, still yes.
Interesting. Now, let's play a little game here, because I know you and I have taken liberties before on the history of this show, so tonight should be no different. If it is the club, hypothetically, that would hold that gold, does Breezango become babyface even just for this one program? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. See, I will
they
say
should
this...
be babyface right now. They're too entertaining to be heel. But
yeah,
that's why I think they would be a great foil for the New Day, because the New Day could make fun of them in hilarious ways, and they could be the straight man in hilarious ways, and it would be an amazing dynamic between those two teams.
See, now you said something very interesting that I just kind of want to expound upon from my own end. And you said that Breezango should be babyface right now because they're so entertaining. That's what I think is going to happen. That these guys will be so consistently entertaining, permitting that they get time, to really showcase that. The crowd, I think, is going to love them. And it's going to be one of those things where, well, they weren't meant to be babyface, but the crowd decided they were babyface. That's honestly what I see Breezango ending up as.
They're going to be another New Day.
I would have to agree with you. They definitely have that potential. But with that said,
Oh, these guys are heels. They're evil. You guys need to boo them. But then they go out there and they have fun and they're entertaining and the crowd gets into it. And next thing you know, they're getting cheered.
yeah, man. It's great stuff, and it's great to see talent, the quality of Fandango and Tyler Breeze getting time. It's just so wonderful to see that. But what did you think about this match with the Lucha Dragons?
It was fairly uneventful. Hunico is still amazing as Sin Cara, and
Yes.
yeah, man, like I just love, and the finish was really cool too, because that's usually something you see from like Gargano, where he tucked Kalisto's head into the turnbuckle and then super kicked it and then rolled him up.
Yeah, and you know what, dude? Like, why I was so happy about this shows me that Breezango is far and away past Golden Truth, and they really are potentially on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Because, this wasn't just a tag team that came together for the sole purpose of feuding with Golden Truth. They really do feel like their own organic entity now with a win over a team like the Lucha Dragons. So
I have a
great
really
stuff.
dumb question.
Sure.
Have the Lucha Dragons been WWE Tag Team Champions yet, or was it just the NXT tag titles that they held?
Just the NXT tag titles. They have not had a run with the WWE tag titles.
I think I'm confused because of because of Kalisto's U.S. title run, and I'm thinking that, well, yeah, he had gold, but I forget that it wasn't tag gold; it was singles.
Exactly.
And that was because Sin Cara got injured.
Right.
So there we go. That's. I'm glad we cleared that up because I was confused for a moment. But yeah, I definitely, because, I mean, hey, we can't say that they beat former WWE Tag Team Champions, but we can say that they beat former NXT Tag Team Champions, and those were belts that the Wyatt family contested and won for.
Exactly.
So
I mean, yeah,
credibility.
There you go. And yeah, man, I mean, I hope Breezango's stock continues to rise, because I think they could just be another great asset in what's been a white-hot tag division. And we'll see what the future holds for them.
Yeah, brother. Up next, we had the Rollins report.
What'd you think?
I want you to talk about this because I thought this was lame as hell.
Here's the thing. I must be a real asshole because I enjoyed it.
Breaking news, people. John's an asshole.
And I own it. And I own it proudly. Fuck all you. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
I wonder, what's your nickname again?
Yeah, I know, Johnny Scumbag. Soon to be Johnny Marketing. If you buy one more, It's Irrelevant t-shirt on Teespring. Make this happen for me, please. He's watching. He has expectations of me. Don't make this fall apart. So, yeah.
Do you care about things? Do you wish you could care less about things? Are there things in your life that you don't want to care about at all? Buy the It's Irrelevant t-shirt and just say it's irrelevant.
Hey, my marketing. You sit right there. No, I'm just kidding.
Man, it's not my fault. You're not trying to actually pitch it, and you're just asking people to buy it for your sake.
I was going to have a pitch at the end of the show, ass face.
Well, that's up to you then. See if you can one-up my pitch.
Yeah, mister, I'm not going to touch it. It's all on you. I have been plugging my ass off on Twitter.
Well, that makes one of us, because I haven't been, which is kind of the bulk of the marketing that I would have done anyway.
You're all right, Ashton. But anyway,
I'm waiting for you to one up my pitch during the finish.
It's gonna happen. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Shut your face hole. Anyway, this whole
I was listening to Podswoggle earlier, and I think it was Augie that was just like, shut your mouth, shut the hell up, shut your fucking mouth right now. And then it was all building up to him just saying one simple thing, and I don't even remember what it was, but it was just too funny. I was laughing while he said it.
Oh, Augie's my spirit animal then. But yeah, no, I like this, if for no other reason, because of the captions like he would have about Roman Reigns. The one that really made me laugh was, not a good guy, not a bad guy, but the suspended guy. I don't know. I thought it was good stuff. I mean, yeah, I figured they were going to go the stock footage route, but I honestly loved how Rollins sold all of Reigns' quote-unquote answers. It's like, wow. I mean, do you have anything to say for yourself after being such an embarrassment and utterly a disgrace? And just, like, the way he sold it, like, it was almost like Roman Reigns was the perpetrator of Watergate or something. Like, you're just so horrible, Roman. But I will say, for as hit and misses this was, you know what wasn't? Dean Ambrose's rebuttal to all this stuff.
Oh, Oh, Dean was so good.
What a fucking promo. You know, I even tweeted
This
to
right here is the kind of promo that makes stars. Like, this is the kind of promo where if Vince wasn't high on Dean before, this is the kind of eye opener that could get Vince to be like, damn, maybe this guy does have a future as the guy.
I have been saying when Dean gets serious and he gets in the zone like I'm world champion and I'm going to represent that proudly,
Yeah.
I'm not saying a carbon copy when I say that he gives off a Harley Race vibe because I've told you and I know I've said on this program.
See, I was thinking more Jake Roberts, but yeah.
And yet Jake no, you're not wrong. And see, like, I think Jake Roberts is a better comparison, but why I say Harley Race, and let me just qualify that for everybody to understand. Harley Race cut one of my favorite promos ever, and obviously I didn't watch that era, but on YouTube there is a promo of him as NWA World Champion, and he pretty much comes out and says, "This is my life." Ric Flair likes to think he's the cock of the walk, he's the man. No, when you hold this, you're the man. And he spoke with such a conviction, and you know what? He kept his voice level. It wasn't like, "And when you hold this, you're the man." No, just completely level, like, I'm talking to you right now, and I'm talking to you as the NWA World Champion. And what that means is I'm talking to you as the best fighter in the world today. And with Dean, like, yeah, his voice can get a little higher sometimes, like going into that Mick Foley mode, not outright yelling, but like really intense and passionate. But when Dean is just telling you, you like to smile, you like to have a good time, and you like to think that all I do is joke and have fun, but Seth, you know me better than anybody. You know the crap I swam through to get this, so the question you need to be asking yourself, Seth, is what am I going to do to keep it? Holy fuck, that delivery. This is what makes world champions. When you make that world title seem like, I will give up my life for this. Are you kidding me? What are you bringing to the fight? Because I'm bringing everything and then some without explicitly saying that, like John Cena's earlier promos, like 05 to 07, like, you know? I loved it, dude. This was such an amazing promo. In fact,
this promo is the kind of promo that reminds me why I fell in love with Dean Ambrose as a performer in the first place.
Yes, dude, yes. And you know, here and there you and I will mention our TWitWoW End of the Year Awards. I made a reference most recently on our NXT TWitWoW review talking about American Alpha and the Revival. This is a contender, not a winner because the year's not over, but a contender for promo of the year for me. I freaking love this delivery.
I think so far this is my promo of the year.
Dude, his fire was on point.
Yep.
Dude, I really hope he doesn't lose that title at Battleground. I am really hoping.
Yeah, I agree, but rumor has it, you know.
those three dreaded fucking rumor has it. Oh, please God, no.
Rumor has it Roman Reigns is facing Seth Rollins in a singles match for the title at SummerSlam. So
you know
do
what?
with that what you will.
I'm going to give the best response because I'm going to be able to plug like everything at once. You guys know from our 1,000th subscriber celebration video, we are going to start doing pay-per-view reviews. And you are going to be so glad we did. Because if Roman Reigns regains that championship, that rant is going to be worthy of a review by itself. Because it won't just be a live reaction that can contain it. My hate will be everywhere. If he wins that championship, there will be no survivors. And you know what? I would even say the same to a degree if Seth wins it. I love Seth. Give Dean his fucking run. This isn't just an anti-Roman Reigns thing. This is a common sense thing.
I don't think it's ever been about anti-Roman Reigns. I think it's always been about getting Roman Reigns' character right.
Exactly.
Which they are still seemingly incapable of. Like, can I just say, if you would turn Roman Reigns into Bo Dallas, what Bo Dallas was when he was the NXT champion, it would be the best thing ever. It would be like the greatest thing of all time.
Right. You know, and like it just baffles the mind that they still haven't gotten it right. But now, in an even broader context, this isn't even about Roman Reigns or even Roman Reigns' character anymore. This is about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and they've got a great champion right now. And I don't want them to shirk Dean Ambrose with like a short title reign because, Roman Reigns' priorities. You know, and I say, like so many other people, but in a different way, fuck Roman Reigns right now. Like, work out your shit with him as you need to, but you have got a great world champion here. And damn it, I'm going to keep getting up here and fucking saying it, because I've said it now for the past few weeks. Give him his run. I'll be as obnoxious with that as I was for KO for Money in the Bank 2016. The only difference is this is a legitimate cause. Whereas KO for Money in the Bank 2016, I think, was just pure fanfare, and I did feel like for a time a possibility. No. This is reality, and it's proving to be really freaking awesome. don't ruin this. Take a chance on him and just have him continue to amaze, because if he keeps delivering promos like this, I'm going to remember what it means to be a world champion in pro wrestling, because that's what Ambrose reminds me. Like, you should want to be world champion. You should want to endure everything. And by the way, that's another thing about his promo too. Those pot shots he took at both like Roman Reigns, CM Punk, like all those, quote unquote great WWE title holders, though I wouldn't call Roman great in any stretch of those title reigns. And just saying like, I was the last man standing among all of them, and that's why I'm the king around here, and I have been for a while, even before I held this.
Yep.
I love the confidence. Like, yes. Fuck yes. Oh
Can I say, too, it kind of felt like he was sending a message even to Roman, even though he's supposed to kind of be the good guy and stick up for Roman. It felt in a way that he kind of sent a message to Roman, like, you have gotten injured how many times now, and they still push you, and you took all of this shit that they've been giving you to try and get you to get over, even though it wasn't working, and you threw it away by using whatever it was that you used. And here I am, still steady as a rock, still the go-to guy whenever something comes up like what you did. And yeah, I am the guy. I am the best choice to become the guy.
I freaking loved it, dude. On just every level.
Do you agree with me, though, that to a degree it
yes.
felt like he was also talking not just to Seth but to Roman as well?
Oh my god, yes. Absolutely. And I would almost even wonder if he was talking to Roman on like a real level, like, hey, you screwed up and I'm here. And, that's the way it works. This is a dog-eat-dog industry. Always has been, and sadly probably will continue to be for years to come. But Dean right now is the top dog, and he feels like it. That's the thing. I mean, I can't name a champion off the top of my head, like, in recent memory, but it's just nice to have a champion that feels like a world champion, if that makes any sense. Like, it feels like, yeah, he deserves to be world champion. That world title looks right with him and feels right with him. And yet, Dean definitely gives off that vibe. Again, I love Seth too, and that's why I said this isn't necessarily an anti-Roman Reigns thing. I don't think Seth should touch it right now. Like, we've seen what he can do as a world champion. Granted, not without the authority, but I'm really loving what Dean's doing right now, and I just hope that train doesn't stop anytime soon.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, yeah. Tonight, this was the first time on the main roster that I really felt a hint of that FCW Dean Ambrose that I love so much.
And I'm so happy to hear that, because I want more of it. I want more of it for both of us. And here's the thing. I say I don't want the train to stop anytime soon. Dean goes even further, and I got to give WWE credit for this too. Because as you already said earlier in the podcast, bro, we do get signed off Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins next week for the world title. Yeah. Why I like this, even though it's close to a pay-per-view, like I think it's the go-home show before Battleground, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll tell you why I like it when you're done.
I like it because it gives a payoff to Seth's complaining. Like, it's not just complaining needlessly. It's like, oh, Roman shouldn't be in the triple threat. It should be a one-on-one match. Like, I just thought they were going to use it as a very base heel tactic. Oh, and then Roman comes back, and then Seth has to deal with that. No, there actually was a payoff. Like, oh, you're so confident you could beat me in a one-on-one match. Let's put that to the test. So I got to give WWE kudos. It wasn't just hot air or just, really vacuous kind of heel heat for Seth. They had a payoff for it with this one-on-one match. So that's why I like it.
I actually have a question about this that is going to potentially turn it into a very much a bad thing.
Okay.
Who wins?
See, and I was going to say, I immediately think this is going to a no contest. Either a double count out or what.
It's going to be a winner. You just think it's going to be like a tease.
Exactly. I think this is nothing more than an overglorified tease, and I say that in a good way. I was
going to say it, because if either one of these guys wins, I mean, if Rollins wins, it kind of is going to piss a lot of people off, because you're basically hot-shotting the title from one person to another.
Including this guy.
If Dean wins, why would Rollins even still be in the triple threat, knowing that Dean already beat him singles?
Exactly. And I completely agree.
And then you've got a really, really bad situation, because then you've got Dean versus Roman, where Roman is the clear heel, and they're talking about giving Roman a freaking, like, making up to the universe comeback story.
Oh my god. I'm only going to rant about it if they actually do it. It's pure conjecture, but it may leave me in pure constipation if they go through with it, so we'll see. There's your alliteration, by the way. Fuck Roman Reigns.
Wait, where was the... I missed the alliteration.
Conjecture, constipation. I said it's pure conjecture, but it'll give me constipation if they do it.
Oh, that's not alliteration. They weren't even next to each other.
Screw off. Anyway, let's move on. What came
You're
after
just
this?
being a mark for yourself at this point. Come on, snap.
Oh, look in a mirror. But anyway, let's move on.
If you're
What
gonna
came
pull
after
off
this?
alliteration, you're gonna have to work for it.
Oh my god, I said all right, let's move on. What came after this?
A segment.
What segment?
Sami Zayn on commentary.
Oh god, this was glorious.
This was annoying.
He's such a loser. He got
But-
exactly what he deserved.
Hey man, before you go full kayfabe, let me shoot on you for a moment.
Okay.
It was annoying, which made it a great segment for Kevin Owens because it made me hate him and his face, and that's exactly what needs to happen.
I've been noticing that lately with you and KO. Like, obviously it's a testament to his great heel work, but you really have been getting annoyed with him more, it seems like.
Yeah, because he's better at working me than anyone else, I think.
That's amazing. I hope he's able to continue that trend on SmackDown because I'd like to see your reactions to him being world champion, like doing that kind of heel work.
I'd like to see your reaction to him being heel champion. Wait, that's not a guarantee. No, it's happening.
Yeah, it's totally happening. That's the sole reason they're doing this brand split to begin with, is
Yeah.
because it's the Kevin Owens show.
You mean kind of like how it was totally happening that Owens was winning Money in the Bank?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of myself for my birth. Guys, did you see that? Did you see that? I called him out for it. Yeah. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, and it didn't happen. So
Yeah, well, I've owned every time that I've been wrong, but then when Kevin Owens is world champion, I'm going to shove it in everybody's face. Most importantly, yours after that crack, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
you'll notice though that normally I really don't shove it in your face when you're wrong. I just let it slide.
I would grant you that, yes. So, yeah.
This is the one time, just because of how adamant you were, that I'm going to shove it in your face.
And that's fair enough, but I'll get my sweet comeuppance in the end when Kevin Owens is world champion because he's better than all of you. And plus, he'll do it before Sami Zayn, which will be even sweeter because he's only the world champion at injuring his shoulder. So, with that
So you're
spirit
saying
in
you'll
mind-
give me my comeuppance then?
Well, not you your comeuppance. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with you. It's more just giving Sammy his comeuppance and those who follow him, which I guess, yeah, I mean, that would, you're a fan of Sami Zayn.
I am.
So, yeah, there you go. I guess it's giving all of you your comeuppance. So there you go.
And if Owens ever is champion, all I'm going to be thinking is, oh my god, now Sammy's going to win it off of him. It's the reverse NXT story.
You wish. Not gonna happen. But I will
John,
say,
have you seen how resilient Sammy is?
yes. And I'm actually glad you mentioned that. And we're actually having this spirited discussion because the spirited discussions that you and I have had about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is a testament to how great their history is. But that leads me that I'm going to ask you a question. Well, first, let me just set the stage real quick, so everybody knows what we're talking about. Sami Zayn's on commentary. Kevin Owens is arguing with the referees like, I'm not going out there with him out there. It's an unsafe working environment, which, of course, he's right. He has children to think about because he's a father. Get it together, people. And Stephanie comes in and she says, guys, real simple. Just take Sami Zayn out of the equation. And Kevin Owens is like, oh, that's great stuff. I always knew you were the smartest, the McMahon family, all that good stuff. So now my question to you, let's pump the brakes just very quickly. How have you felt about this build, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens for Battleground?
I think it's been pretty good. I mean, I feel like it's been a little bit more on the sudden side than I'd prefer, but when a feud has this much history, I guess you can afford to be sudden with the build.
You know what? I think ultimately I am going to give it a thumbs up because they really did have an amazing mic exchange on the highlight reel that I really feel like has been kind of the foundation for this thing.
And then the double kick.
And the double kick, yeah. Drink it in. Good stuff there. It's just, and I think somebody else even mentioned, I forget who, because I'd love to give proper credit on Twitter, so I apologize. But I wish there was just more than, oh, these guys are just beating each other up. Like, I love that that's an aspect, because they hate each other so much they can't be in the same place without tearing each other apart. But I want more promo exchanges with these two, because I love the highlight reel so much, and I feel like if you're going to give, again, people like Charlotte talking time, give your really solid and golden aspect of your mid-card, that being guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, more mic time to tell their story. Because this really could be, and I say this with no absence of hyperbole, this could be the next Triple H Shawn Michaels to me, especially if they're both on the same brand. You get a world title involved, those programs would be legendary. Guaranteed. I just think I would like to see them tell their story more through the microphone. So if I had one nitpick, you could say, of this feud, it's that I don't think these two have talked nearly enough. in an actual formal kind of promo setting in the ring or whatever. But yeah, I'm loving what these two guys are doing, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't even completely disagree with you. I agree that there should definitely be more between these two. But honestly, it kind of feels like the WWE is sort of taking the laid back, like, you guys already know how much these two hate each other. We don't need to tell you anymore. And for once, they're actually not shoving something down our throats. So I'm going to just accept that.
See, I can totally see where you're coming from. And I accept it on those merits too. But it's a shame because WWE, which I feel like they do in so many other regards, they should treat their audience like you have no idea the history between these two guys, because they should operate under the assumption our audience doesn't watch ROH and this and that. I mean, I think that's a foolish assumption, but for the sake of telling a good story, I think this time it would work, because then you'd really put your back into, let's make the vignettes, let's make, all this stuff, let's give them the mic time, let's really make this epic. And I feel like that's a word that gets thrown around a lot and even abused, if I'm being quite frank. But I feel like these two together have the potential to achieve a rivalry of that status, especially when you get things like world titles and big spots involved and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying what they're doing, but it's with the idea of knowing I know they could do so much more because they're both just so good working with each other. So with that said, Sami Zayn, he's on his way out. Refs are escorting him. Him and Owens meet up, though they start beating each other up on the ramp. See, again, they just can't stand to be in the same place with each other. And then we get Kevin Owens versus Cesaro, which, I mean, that's cut into Mr. McMahon arrives in his limo, talks about, I'm here to talk about the draft, and we're going to find out our SmackDown commissioner tonight. But then, after all that's established, we do get Cesaro versus Kevin Owens. And, Ashton, what did you think of this match?
Honestly, I didn't even pay that much attention to it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was good. It was just because of who was in it, but I kind of checked out because I kind of felt like the whole Sami Owens thing took the stakes out of it.
Okay. So you probably would have been kept into it had Sami been permitted to stay in his position at commentary.
Yes.
Makes sense. I can give you that. Plus, I think, and again, not to denigrate the work of either guy, because I mean, obviously, I love both Cesaro and I certainly love Kevin Owens, but we have seen these guys in the ring before on Raw. I feel like maybe they should almost take it as a compliment, because WWE trusts to give these two guys TV time in terms of a match and know that they're going to put on something of quality.
Right.
It's like, oh, guys, we need this time eaten up. Go out and have yourselves a barn burner. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. I mean, some good spots in there. Cesaro initially missing his around the world kind of uppercut, and he eats barricade, and then he eats a super kick from Owens. But then later in the match, Cesaro, while wearing JBL's cowboy hat, he does it, and then he does a cross body off the rope. I mean, yeah, just some great back and forth. Owens does eventually win, but not even with the pop-up powerbomb. It's almost like he had him in an inverted, like, Death Valley driver position, but then he does a spinning neck breaker, which actually I think was a nice touch, because during the match...
So like an inverted TKO.
Yes, thank you, Ashton. That's perfect terminology. Inverted TKO, which I felt like was a nice touch, only because it seemed like Owens was working over the neck. Specifically, he had hit a sick neck breaker mid-match right on his knee to Cesaro, so it goes back, I guess, to the damage of the head and neck. And so, yeah, psychologically, I actually feel like that was a nice finish. And it also shows, like, hey, not every match has to end with a finisher. A match can end at any time. So, yeah, great match. Owens wins. And then after the match, Owens goes over to commentary. He's like, I'm hearing all this talk about best in the world, this and best in the world, that. I'm the best in the world, and I'm not even trying. I'm the best in the world in that ring. I'm the best in the world at commentary. And then Sami Zayn just jumps on him out of the crowd, and he starts assaulting him again. So, yeah, no peace of mind for Owens, no sleep for Owens, no anything, because Sami Zayn is always on his ass. And yeah, we've just got a few shows left before Battleground. I'm really hoping that these guys can continue to maintain that momentum. Again, one final promo exchange would be great. So yeah, excellent stuff accomplished here by, well, really all three of these guys, because then Owens tried taking refuge from Zayn, ends up getting a Cesaro swing. Yep. And yeah, so babyfaces stand tall to end the segment.
Yeah, Kevin Owens is just so insecure.
I love it, though. I love it, because he's insecure in a way that's comedic, but he really backs it up when, time calls and he's able to, step up and do his thing. He's not like that whiny Triple H secure where I'm like, oh, I'm the best and I'm the game and no, I really am amazing and like all that stuff. I just love how Owens like owns it, but he does also, really exhibit that insecurity at the same time at different intervals. It's great stuff.
But I'm the best at wrestling.
Boo!
We hate you!
So good.
Get the bricks!
Get the bricks.
Oh,
my
Colt Cabana, you were in that short.
He was. All right, what came after this, man?
Yeah. Up next, we had the Club talking about crashing the ESPYs to beat up John Cena.
I love the beat up John Cena. I mean, it was even trending quite strongly at a point to where John Cena even responded to it.
Yeah, I mean that was last week though. I wanted to see it trend again this week, and I don't think it did.
Oh, that's disappointing. I still think though it has the potential to be a thing. It's just gotta, they just gotta keep going and putting it in different contexts. I'm sure it'll work out. I hope, because I really liked it. So yeah, I mean they cut a promo there, solid stuff. After that, what happened?
I'm gonna make a shirt that has the words "beat up" at the top of it, and then like a colorful posterized, relatively vague to avoid copyright issues version of John Cena underneath it.
That sounds epic to me.
Gotta keep it vague. Gotta avoid those copyright lawsuits, but still, it seems like it would be cool.
Yeah, we don't want anybody getting sued. So that sounds like an epic shirt.
And by anyone, you mean specifically me. I don't want to get sued.
Exactly.
So then we had Titus O'Neil versus Heath Slater, which was this was the definition of a throwaway match. There's literally nothing meaningful coming out of this at all.
Yeah, no stakes, no anything. I mean, they tried to create tension with the screen promo where Heath Slater and, the social outcasts are pretty much like, oh, Titus is an embarrassment. He embarrassed his country, on the 4th of July. And before that, at Money in the Bank, he embarrassed his family. So, and then they're all having a good laugh. And then they're like, oh, Titus is going to disappoint again on Blueberry Muffin Day. So, it was just trying to phone in some tension. Titus gets the easy win after Clash of the Titus, where he actually remains in the seated position to get the pin, which I know our boy Gordon Maston pointed out. And it's like he's learning. He's maintaining what he's learned. That's awesome. So, yeah, Titus gets the win.
Maybe not getting better, but at least he's not getting worse.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, do you think this is going to lead to anything, or is this just another, sorry you lost to Rusev Titus, here's a win to make up for it?
Oh, definitely the latter. I can't see this going anywhere. I don't even really see where Titus fits in the mid-card scheme, to be honest.
I wonder if Titus, threatened to go to the media and, out Vince as a racist or something, and Vince was like, no, what do I have to do to put a lid on this? And Titus was just like, okay, I want a run at the U.S. title. I don't have to win. I just want a run at it to see if I can get over. And then I want a winning record for the rest of the year before I leave. Because I'm leaving at the end of the year.
Honestly, dude, if Titus does leave at the end of the year and we do notice him racking up a lot of wins...
Nobody would remember him.
Well, I would say fuck him. I was going to be like, everybody will remember you because you just called the shit out of it. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you heard it here first, technically, probably, yeah. So... we'll see what happens, but I really don't see what
news. That was just an out-of-the-dark prediction.
Yeah, but if you get that right, though, that's insane, because it is weird that, yeah, he gets a U.S. title run for no reason, much like it's looking like Zack Ryder will, but at least he has some wins to back it up, I guess. And then,
one singular win over Sheamus.
Yeah, and then, of course, getting the winning pin in that patriotic, free-for-all.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, because America.
Exactly. America! So, yeah, I don't know where Titus fits, but he got this random win, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I'll tell you where he doesn't fit.
Where?
Entertainment.
Ooh, burn.
So then we got a Renee Young interview with Sasha Banks. And Sasha is obsessed with getting her hands on Dana Brooke and Charlotte's championship.
Yeah, good fire from Sasha, pretty much saying I was doing all this stuff, but all I could think about was just beating up Dana and being in the ring with Dana. So Sasha clearly very focused, very intense. I enjoyed this from her.
I love how often people are using the phrase beat up now. Like it's a thing now.
Exactly. So good. Thank you, AJ Styles and the club. Great stuff.
So then we got an announcement that on Thursday on SmackDown, you're getting Miz TV, with Darren Young and Bob Backlund.
Should be very interesting. I hope these two show that they have chemistry, and this could be a worthwhile mid-card feud.
I think they will. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, I have confidence they will.
Yeah. So then we got this whole Wyatt's versus New Day thing, and this is exciting, and it's very much a riff on the Final Deletion thing, where they had basically it's the same thing, except rather than having the match at the Hardy compound, it's at the Wyatt family compound. And the biggest difference here is that you can tell that they actually put some effort into filming and producing and editing this segment.
Did you ever end up watching the Final Deletion?
I've seen enough of people reacting to it that I've basically seen the whole thing, yeah.
And see, maybe I saw the first 2 minutes before I clicked out. I'm like, I just can't. I tried to watch the whole thing. I just couldn't. And really,
so from what I've seen, the first segment that I actually did see was the drone segment where Jeff Hardy is, I believe, playing guitar in his house, and then a bunch of drones show up, and one of them has a hologram projector on it, and that's where Matt Hardy challenges him, and then you get to see Matt Hardy riding around on his tractor like a lunatic. And then the match itself, it was one of those hardcore, basically it was a backyard match, but Jeff Hardy jumped off a tree, but he landed on a ladder, so it didn't matter anyway. And there were Roman candles that Matt was shooting at Jeff, but Jeff had a trash can lid that he was blocking. And then Jeff grabbed a Roman candle, and the best part of the whole thing was Matt Hardy breaking character to be like, oh shit! And he runs away, and he finds a dilapidated boat to hide behind, which is a meme now for some reason. And then for some reason, even though the Roman candles weren't working, Jeff Hardy is dumb enough to still throw the Roman candle, the burnt out Roman candle, at the boat while Matt is protecting himself with it. And then we had this weird brawl, and Jeff and Matt end up falling into a lake, and Matt thinks that he won and that he drowned Jeff, and then Willow comes out of the water. And he's attacking Matt, and then the gardener comes over and tases Jeff as Willow. And then he kind of goes after the gardener, and then Matt goes over to where they were and sees Willow laying on the ground and pins him for the 3 count, but then he pulls the mask up, and it was the gardener. And then Jeff attacks him from behind, and then he climbs up a big Hardy family symbol that I guess was just lying around in Matt's yard when Jeremy Borash showed up there for filming, and they decided to use it. And Matt lit something on fire that ended up causing Jeff to fall off this big thing, and then Matt got a 3 count, and that's it.
See, I'm just gonna I'm not even gonna react to anything you just. I ain't touching that. But
I am gonna want to go back and rewatch the New Day Wyatt family segment though, because it was actually really good.
Before I get into the specifics about the New Day and the Wyatt family, this whole thing, I just want to say I tweeted out, which is probably my most popular tweet of the night, when I commented on Raw here and there. Lucha Underground innovated, TNA imitated, and then WWE followed suit. Now, that's not to say that this was bad. I quite enjoyed this. Why I say that is it's important to know where all this stuff even came from in the first place. So anybody listening to this that maybe doesn't watch Lucha Underground or is unfamiliar with Lucha Underground, normally I would really emphasize, go back to the beginning, really relish in the experience, all that stuff. I'm going to say screw with all the amazing stuff that's going on. Tune in Wednesday to Ultima Lucha Dos Part 2. It's going to be amazing. It's going to knock your socks off and blow your goddamn mind, because if you enjoyed the Wyatt family compound thing here with the New Day, you'll love what Lucha Underground has to offer. So I really just want to stress, Lucha Underground got this whole ball rolling, and it's important to keep perspective about where credit should be attributed. That said, this was really well done. I did enjoy this. I think it had the exact tone and atmosphere one should expect when going in the Wyatt's backyard. So, what did you think about
because the Final Deletion thing, it felt like a parody of Lucha Underground. They were well, Lucha Underground has this awesome cinematic filming style, and they do actual cinematography, and they take themselves very seriously. And even though their stuff is over the top, they're so committed to it that you can suspend your disbelief and buy into it, and it's great. And then TNA was just okay, so if we just take a step back, this stuff is actually ludicrous and ridiculous and crazy, which it is, but because they take it so seriously, you can buy into it, and it's awesome. But TNA kind of took a step back and said, well, this is ludicrous, this is crazy, this makes no sense, this is ridiculous. Let's make something even more ridiculous, and let's film it basically using a bunch of drones that Jeremy Borash already has, because Borash is like a drone geek with high-quality cameras, and we'll film it at the Hardy's mansion or compound or whatever the hell you want to call it. Basically, this cost next to nothing for them to make because Borash already had the drones. The cost itself was probably entirely put into the cameras and maybe any kind of post-production that might have gone into this, which really, other than just making cuts to make sure that everything made sense sequentially, I don't think there had to be much. But other than that, I feel like that was like the only cost that went into the final deletion was the cameras themselves to record it, to film it, and then post-production. And the post-production wasn't even really noticeable other than just, we can't just film one continuous shot. We have to make cuts. So that's your post-production budget. Right. And like the whole thing, it was like, it literally, to me, it was what would happen if a backyard promotion got drones and HD cameras. Like that's exactly what this was. It was a backyard wrestling match with production value.
Right.
That's it. That's all it was. And people are like clamoring, talking about how it's this great thing, talking about how, oh, this changed the business. Like, no, all this really did was spike TNA's ratings for 1 week, but the rest of the show wasn't even good enough to keep people around. So it's going to go right back down to where it was next week, if not lower, because next week they're changing days from Tuesdays to Thursdays because they're afraid to compete with SmackDown.
Right. And but with that said, though, I mean, what did you think about the Wyatt family and New Day coming? Because I know you said you liked it.
Yeah,
so
I'm sorry, I lost track of what I was talking about, but I wanted to say that because, like I said, Final Deletion kind of felt like a parody in the sense that they took some of the ridiculous elements of Lucha Underground. They didn't fully commit to it, so it was more ridiculous and less believable. And they cranked it up to 11, so it was even less believable and more ridiculous. But on the other hand, the WWE was more a direct imitation of Lucha Underground. Because the WWE didn't see any like comedy value in this. They saw, holy shit, we can do this and take it seriously and people will buy into it. And they did exactly that, and it came off as awesome. Now, granted, I'm going to give WWE credit for something over Lucha Underground here, because the one thing that Lucha Underground has never done that you and I have been asking for pretty much since season 1 is one of these cinematic vignette video segments, but it's a match instead of just talking.
Right.
That's what this basically, I mean, this was a fight more than a match, so that's actually even better. And Lucha Underground has done that. They've done backstage fights and stuff, but this was a lot more of like a complete match style fight, because it actually felt like there were different things going on. Whereas in Lucha Underground, we've never really seen more than just like either a 1-on-1 or like a 1-on-3 quick, exchange of punches, and then somebody's laid out and something is progressing.
Right.
Whereas with this, it really felt like these 3 guys on each side were going after each other, trying to hurt the other team, trying to, do actual physical damage, and it wasn't necessarily meant to be just like a quick, like, let's just knock this person out so that we can progress the story. This was meant to be a segment in and of itself in a vacuum.
Right.
And I think it was very, very well done. And if the WWE would ever decide to really put this style of filming to more of a use than just a one-off, they could definitely up their game big time. And I've said this is more what I meant a long, long time ago, probably, over a year ago, when I said Lucha Underground is a new ECW, not necessarily in the sense that it has like this smaller cult following and there are 2 bigger companies in them, because realistically, if you compare the number of homes that the El Rey Network is in to the number of homes that Pop TV is in, Lucha Underground gets the same percentage of people as TNA on their network.
Right.
Because Lucha Underground averages like 100 to 150,000 viewers every week, and they have about a third of the people that can potentially watch them because of how many homes the El Rey Network is in than TNA, and TNA gets around 300,000 a week. So if anything, if Lucha Underground was in as many homes as TNA, they would get more ratings. They would get more people watching them than TNA.
Right. I
But
completely agree.
so it's not really that case. But the reason I said that it was like a new ECW is because ECW completely changed the wrestling scape, the landscape of the business, in the sense that they introduced that kind of hardcore style. They introduced that gritty attitude, literally attitude era feel. They brought things to the table that had never really been done before in wrestling, and if they were done before, they hadn't been done right before. And Lucha Underground is kind of the next progression. So really, when I say it's the new ECW, it's more, it's the new revolutionary wrestling promotion that's never going to get as much credit as it deserves. And here's to hoping that last part of it not getting as much credit it deserves is false, because hopefully within a couple years, and maybe even sooner than that, Lucha Underground starts getting the recognition it deserves, and eventually people start to realize, like, holy shit, this is so much better than everything else going on in wrestling right now. And people realize that, like, the WWE doing this segment is directly because of what Lucha Underground does on a weekly basis and have been doing since October of 2014.
Right. I agree with everything you just said. I echo it with every fiber of my being 100-fold. And, like, again, I enjoyed what the Wyatt family and the New Day did here. What was really cool, I mean, right out of the gate, you have a woman who I presume to be Sister Abigail, but I like how they ended it.
Sister Abigail is dead. Let's just establish that right now.
No, I was going to finish. I was going to say, like, that still, though, is left in ambiguity. I agree with you, she probably is dead, but with the way they finished the segment,
yeah,
you might have initially started thinking, oh, it's Sister Abigail, but then you ended thinking, oh my God, she's just one of, like, a swarm of people that have sworn to this kind of ideology of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. And there was even a moment towards the end of this segment where you got to see all the lights showing up, and it was like Bray's fireflies.
Exactly.
That was cool. That was a great moment.
Yeah, definitely, man. I love that. And like, where they were fighting and how they were fighting. Like, specifically what sticks out in my mind is, Big E and Kofi taking it to Braun Strowman, and they're, like, fighting in the mud, and, it really feels like, this kind of fisticuffs kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it was all over the place, but it was really a lot of fun. Like, I'm telling you, this feud, I think, may be one of the surprises of the year, because I don't know how many people thought that these two, given their styles and their dispositions and everything, if they'd meshed together well. I think this has been one worthwhile program for the tag team division, and yet just another testament to how great the New Day has been, and the Wyatt family. I don't want to shirk them by any means, but the New Day consistently stepping their game up. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. What were some of the highlights for you about this whole thing?
For me, the highlight was everything that was going on with Xavier. The way that Bray, kind of found him at that tree and they, like, threw that pickaxe head at him like he was going to poke him in the freaking head and kill him. And then he kind of grabbed him by the head and threw it up against the tree a few times and knocked him out, and then draped him over his shoulder and dropped him kind of behind enemy lines and, behind the cars that were kind of set up to separate the Wyatts from the New Day. And then it ended up that he came back. And also, Braun Strowman, to me, was the highlight of this whole thing.
I would have to agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, like, there were even people in the Reddit thread that said, like, Braun Strowman has never been intimidating to me until this segment. And that right there is the exact kind of sort of reaction and goal that the WWE had in mind with this segment. Because, like, if you can't get something across in the ring and you go to something like this to do it, and you achieve what you wanted to achieve, that's a job well done.
Exactly. And having Braun Strowman look like this monster, which I think WWE's been trying to do from the word go, and they really achieve it in this setting.
Yep.
And again, like, kudos to the New Day, specifically Xavier Woods, for making them feel like a threat, and all the stuff they did with Xavier in this thing. Because it does further exacerbate the question, is something going to happen with Xavier? Is the New Day going to dissolve? Is the Wyatt family going to succeed in making, what they said was going to happen? New Day falls. New Day falls. Like, is that going to happen now? And that ending imagery of all the lights, of all the vehicles and stuff going out, and then you realize, like, oh, it's the Fireflies and everybody in the sheet masks. Oh my god, just wonderful. I think
Yeah.
that was the closest they've come, in my opinion, to achieving the goosebump-inducing atmosphere that they had with the children's choir initially, with John Cena just burying his face in his hands and like, oh my god, what's happening?
I think
What
that the
is
only way that they could have made that even better is if they legitimately would have had, like, rather than just kind of using computer effects to create those lights, if they would have had like a massive, like, 100-person swarm, each of them carrying, rather than phones, a candle each.
Yeah, oh, dude. Yeah, just even
Just
mentally painting that.
walking out of the darkness and, yeah, being creepy. All of them wearing sheet masks, too.
And dude, they could have pulled that out because you figure like how many people would love to be just like a random walker on The
Yeah.
Walking Dead if
Dude,
you know that
literally,
something's going to be on Raw.
you could literally take $1,000 and pay 100 people $100 each, and you're done.
Yeah, and
Or
especially
not
because, like,
$100 each, $10 each. Like, if you're not willing to just stand around and wait and walk and be filmed and be on TV for $10, I don't know what's wrong with it. Like, I would have done that.
yeah, and again, especially
And the
considering,
crazy thing too is your face would be covered. So like you're wearing the face mask. So if like you don't want to be out there, it's fine. And they could have even made it optional. Like if you want, you can wear the face. If you can wear the sheet mask. If you don't want, you don't have to. If you want publicity, don't. If you want to be a little bit more, private and not have people knowing who you are, put the sheet mask on and you're good.
yeah, and again, given that the platform is freaking Raw,
Yeah.
like I was saying earlier, like you have
3
people that
million
would love
people.
to be. Yeah, I mean, you have people that would probably love to just be a random walker on a show like The Walking Dead with the ratings they get, So
Yeah.
Raw, they'd be like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, that would have been excellent imagery. But what they did, I felt like was great. And yeah, just the New Day looking so exasperated and just fatigued and just everything.
Yeah.
As they walk off, and I even sense a little bit of fear. Like I half expected them, honestly, with the fear that they conveyed to me, to actually run away, like slowly step back, but then run the moment they got the opportunity. Which would have been great because the Wyatt family always says, run. And, the New Day would have done that. But I get, being baby faces, maybe you just want to be like, holy shit, okay, we made our
Well, and
point, let's
I
go.
think Xavier kind of was, this is not necessarily running, but he was definitely hiding behind that tree.
Definitely.
Ray just found him. So yeah, like he was really the only one of the three that ever sold fear in the first place, and he was the one out of the three that did the hiding.
Yeah.
So that fit his character perfectly.
And, this makes the Wyatt family look great. And I'll tell you, this is exactly how it should have been played because it's the Wyatt's territory. They should come out on top. And Bray even asking the question, where's your power of positivity now? Like, I'm loving where this angle's going. And I got to say, like, that's a huge compliment because you and I both were so stoked on the idea of Bray Wyatt as a babyface and a babyface Wyatt family more generally. But if they're going to keep him as heel, this is the kind of quality I expect. And they're certainly delivering right now.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't necessarily do Lucha Underground better than Lucha Underground, but they did it a hell of a lot better than TNA's effort.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh my god. So, with that said, anything else you want to say about this segment?
Let's move on. The Club versus Enzo and Cass.
Before we get into this, I want to talk to you about something. Because
Okay.
I've been reading, and it's been for a while now, but that WWE is really high on Big Cass. Like, the latest thing I read is that they're so high on him, they want to build him up to a point where he may even be a credible opponent for Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but, I mean, you and I have said from his NXT days that Cass has got the look
Yep.
and the ability and everything to be that top player. So, what I'm going to ask, and I understand if you can't answer because we always do preview predictions for every pay-per-view, so you may want to be mum about it. I actually feel like Cass may get a really big moment at Battleground, maybe even the winning pin. I'm not talking about over AJ Styles, let's not get crazy, but like Cass may be the conquering hero. Like I really feel like, honestly, this angle isn't just about Enzo and Cass. It really is more about Cass, if I'm being honest. Like, that's just the vibe I get. I mean, what do you think? You think Cass can
Yeah.
have any standout moments?
I mean, maybe. The thing with Cass that I really feel like kind of stops me personally from really buying him as like a top guy material kind of thing is that when he talks, he sounds so dopey to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, and bada bada bada, like he's just like he's bum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, like
Right.
freaking Banjo Kazooie, brother, like that. Like he just seems like he's And then I know he's not slow. He's obviously a very smart guy, but when he talks, it's like he's intentionally sounding dopey. It's weird.
Yeah, I think here's the thing.
I
There are
think
some.
it's like I think it's like the combination of his Jersey accent with his over enunciation to make sure people understand what he's saying.
Right, right. And I can appreciate the over enunciation and like the delivery in some parts because you want the crowd to be participatory, especially when your baby faces like Enzo and Cass are. But if he was to go on a major singles run, I think that would need some refining. I think Cass already has a lot right, which is great for him because and I hate to say because I love Enzo, man. I don't want to feel like I'm just leaving Enzo out in the cold. But you look at Cass and you just kind of nod your head and go, yeah, he's going places. And that's not even to say, oh, well, Enzo's the Marty Jannetty, because I'm so tired of those comparisons anyway, and I think Enzo's got a great upside in his own way. I actually kind of hope that this Cruiserweight Classic would respawn a Cruiserweight division, because I think Enzo could be like the Rock of that division and just really kill it. But yeah, you look at Cass and like, he's the guy that they would want to see headline pay-per-views and win championships. And when we saw that Enzo and Cass answered the call to be with John Cena, I'm like, oh, that's great for Enzo and Cass. But I stopped and I said, no, this is great for them, but it's really great for Cass. And like, that's really my mindset. So I think, yeah, he might even get the winning pin at the pay-per-view just to really make him be like a standout.
That's definitely possible. I mean, well, I guess here's my thing. I don't know if they would do that, but I could see them giving Enzo and Cass the winning pin. But if they do, oh, I have to say it, don't I? If they do, they're probably going to win with Bada Boom Shakalaka.
Right.
Which has Enzo getting the winning pin then.
Right, that is true. I don't know. I could see like it just really breaking down, the match being like a lot of calamity and maybe, Cass wins another way. But I'll put it to you like this. I do agree with you because ultimately it's either going to be Cass getting the win by himself, like I'm thinking, because maybe they really are grooming him for this spot, which I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it's definitely a smart investment. I just wouldn't want them to be too quick about it. I think that's my concern. It's definitely a smart investment to make. I just wouldn't want WWE to shotgun it and, do it too quickly.
Yeah.
I want them to take their time and really do it right. This way Cass is well received.
Right.
Or it's going to be Enzo and Cass as part of that quote-unquote new era, getting the win as a tandem with, again, the Bada Boom Shakalaka. Good God, what a horrible finisher name. But I just wanted to have that quick discussion about Cass.
I think just stick to calling it Air Enzo. I prefer that. Even though that's not the best, it's just so much better than that.
Enzo works for me, but I just wanted to have that side conversation because it seems like every other week I'm seeing a report come out about how high WWE is on Cass, and I really just wanted to finally address it. Yeah, I feel like
I haven't heard that even once. I don't think.
Dude, I've seen it quite a few times. Now, again, you and I frequent different spots, obviously, but
the difference there is that I don't really frequent any specific dirt sheet. I just kind of go to Reddit where all of the actual credible stories already get posted anyway.
Right. I've seen quite a few times though that apparently that there is stock in Big Cass, at least in the eyes of I guess people that matter.
Well,
so
you didn't even need a dirt sheet report in order to see that. I mean, he's got the look that Vince absolutely adores. And the thing is, like if you go back to 2012 in FCW, he was kind of a softer guy. Like he didn't have any kind of muscle tone or anything like that. He was kind of flabby a little bit. And he's worked his ass off to get in great shape. And I think that Vince probably sees a linear correlation with him where he's going to keep on working out and get even bigger. And maybe he'll even have, a build similar to Test eventually.
Right.
Because if he does, like, that's Vince's dream right there, as if Test could talk. Holy shit.
Yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. As far as this tag match goes, it was a fun affair. Certainly nothing to really complain about. I think, as you noted on TWitWoW, the promo from Enzo Cass is pretty much like, oh, we want John Cena's spot too. Like, everybody wants a spot, but we want to earn that spot. Yeah. And then AJ's like, well, John Cena doesn't care about you. He's just going to leave you here to the Wolves. And I'm telling you, if you come in this ring, you're going to get hurt. So turn around and walk back. Obviously, Enzo and Cass don't do that. We have our tag match. Again, it was a fun bout. Ultimately, it comes down to Enzo and Cass. They hit the Air Enzo. See, I'm already getting used to it. And AJ pulls Cass out of the ring, shoves him over the barricade. The referee saw it, so he calls for the DQ. So I guess Enzo and Cass win by disqualification. and they have a great image of Enzo just looking so helpless and so vulnerable, being surrounded by AJ, Gallows, and Anderson. And then John Cena's music hits. Was like, I gotta give WWE credit again. I didn't expect that personally. I thought maybe in the back of my mind, because they've just been referencing it so much that he just doesn't care. And I thought it would make John Cena look really bad if the heels were validated in the sense, oh, look, we got away with the beatdown because John Cena doesn't care. But yeah, I didn't expect John Cena to be there, so that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, he flew all the way from LA to Detroit just for a one-off appearance.
Yeah, not even a match, not even getting to talk, just making sure that Enzo and Cass were defended, which,
yeah.
I mean, hell, kudos to John Cena, man. I mean, look, I've had my gripes about him over the years, but, I mean, when he retires, I think he earned every paycheck that he got to retire with, so kudos to him, and, yeah, good stuff.
He's kind of defending his character's character, you know?
Exactly. It's like, bitch, I'm still getting paid. I gotta look good. So, yeah.
Bitch, I can't let all these little kids that buy my merch think that I'm going to wimp out on Enzo and Cass.
And that's exactly why it was smart for him to show up, because you and I joke about it, but I think those were, to a degree, maybe not as much as, like, we're joking about, but I think they were legitimate stakes. Like, John Cena's whole thing with AJ Styles is, oh, you know, you got your balls on a, you know, bullet train back to Tokyo, and you've got no spine, and you need the club. Well, how spineless would it be to not answer the charge of somebody that says, oh, he doesn't give a shit about you. He's going to let us, you know, beat you up. So, yeah, I'm just so glad he was able to make it, because in context, yeah, John Cena, the character, would have looked really bad in this moment. So,
yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, so up next was Sasha Banks versus Dana Brooke, and this was not really anything to write home about. Match-wise, Sasha wins, and then we got a horrible Charlotte promo afterwards where she basically says that Sasha hasn't proven herself yet and she needs to be Dana again on SmackDown.
Yeah, this was cringy as hell, this promo. The match was fine. You know, Sasha got the win, which of course was the smart call, but then Charlotte's promo, man, like, damn, learn to talk, woman. Learn to do something. Because she's like, oh, no, thank you. I'm the champ. Like, you know, it's like, I think Sasha invited her in the ring, and just, like, awkward silences here and there. And, yeah, it was bad, dude. So, nothing more you could really say than that. It was Charlotte. That's my review. It was Charlotte.
If it wasn't for Natalya, she'd be the worst talker in the company.
Exactly.
And if it wasn't for Natalya, she'd be the worst heel in the company.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Charlotte just, again, as I said before on a TWitWoW, not ready for prime time. It's still not ready for prime time. But Sasha Banks, though, she is prime time. I cannot wait for her to be champion.
Prime time, Sasha Banks.
There you go. The boss, baby. All day, every day.
I like it. So then we had our final segment, Vince announcing the SmackDown commissioner, and as you probably already know from either our live reactions or TWitWoW, it was Shane McMahon.
Yes, Shane McMahon on the one side, which means, by default, oh, Stephanie, of course it would be by default, you get Raw. You get to be Raw commissioner.
And I love, too, that Vince tried to build it up like, still the commissioner of the flagship 3-hour show.
Damn it. But,
I was telling my mom earlier, like, Vince McMahon's sentence structure, you have to begin with, quite frankly, and you have to end with, damn it, for every sentence.
He's so old. But,
and in his ways.
Well, in his ways and in the way, generally.
No, I mean, like, stuck in his ways.
Yes, that too. I guess the only, because, look, just to be frank, you and I both agree Triple H, Raw GM, Daniel Bryan, SmackDown GM, right?
Yes, sir.
Which will be cool, I guess, because it's like Daniel Bryan competing with the Authority all over again.
Oh, God. We're just going to keep that storyline going on forever, aren't we?
I guess so.
You know what, though? That'll lead to some really fun Survivor Series stuff, I bet. If we do a 5-on-5 SmackDown versus Raw match again for Survivor Series.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. You get,
I
bet you, how much you want to bet Triple H drafts Orton to Raw?
Oh my God, yeah, I can see it.
And this kind of sucks too, because I really wanted Orton to be on SmackDown, but I don't know if it just makes more sense. Or maybe Triple H will like draft Charlotte to Raw, and then Bryan will be like, "Oh, I see you're going after your friends. Well, you're not going to get this one," and then he drafts Orton.
Speaking of Orton, it was announced also, just kind of backpedaling a little bit, that he's going to have be on the highlight reel for Battleground. So, yeah, that's going to be to promote his match.
Oh, yeah, that's right, with Jericho. Oh, I hope he RKOs him.
I think he will. I can't see the segment any other way than Jericho going, drink it in, RKO. And, that's how he got his
Implying he'll actually get to start saying drink it in, man.
I think Orton will, just as a common courtesy, been like, okay, I've been out. I know the shtick. You can do it. Just kidding. Bam!
I don't know, man. I think we need to have like a little bet on this or something, because I don't think Orton's going to even let Jericho get to that point.
Well, we'll see. But, yeah, I just want to mention that, Orton will be at the Battleground pay-per-view. It's going to be great to see him. I'll probably even pop, and he's just making an entrance. Like, he's not even competing.
I have voices in my head.
Yeah. I actually have some musings about Orton, but I guess I'll save them for maybe our draft video, because I know it'll be a topic of conversation there.
There you go.
But,
I mean, if you want to talk about Orton now, go ahead. Spotlight.
Well, I mean, because see, I don't really. It's such a tough call because both have such very interesting SummerSlam track records. And Orton, this would be his first match back from an injury, but it's Brock Lesnar. I'll put it to you this way. This way, I don't spoil too much. Regardless of who wins the SummerSlam match, I could actually see Orton going back to being a heel shortly after. If he's not already going to try and be a heel for this program, but I doubt it because he's already going to be with a heel for his return with Jericho. Whatever show Orton gets drafted to, I could see him doing more heel work, which I don't know how I feel about that, but you know what? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
But what I wanted to ask you was, with this whole dichotomy between commissioners and GMs, these two distinctions, do you think there's going to be any tension there? Like, you would assume
I think that this is just an example of Vince really likes the dynamic that we've had over the last couple of months with Stephanie and Shane both kind of running Raw, and he wants to maintain that, but he doesn't want there to be two people in the same position, so he just kind of made something up.
So you don't think that this terminology or commissioner GM, like, it has any kind of weight or any kind of distinction?
I think it's basically going to be the exact same thing as what we've been getting. It's just going to be two people. Maybe their ideas are the same because Steph and Triple H are obviously going to get along, and Shane and Bryan, I imagine, are going to get along. But like, if there's any kind of like tension, I'm guessing that the final decision will be made by the commissioner.
Right.
Which that could actually lead to some interesting stuff between Triple H and Stephanie.
Definitely. I mean, I know the tension will primarily be between the two shows, and I wonder how long this is even going to stick, because I know some people have already been like kind of jumping the gun and being like, oh, this is going to culminate in like a Survivor Series winner-take-all kind of scenario. I don't think so. No. Right now, anyway, I'm going to put my
not anytime soon, at least.
Exactly. I would like to see this play out. But yeah, I mean, this segment we did live reactions to it, and as I said on TWitWoW, I'm going to reiterate it here, predictable, but that's not a bad thing. I enjoyed it. We're getting the ball rolling. I'm just looking forward to the draft next Tuesday. So
yeah, I mean, hey man, you say it's predictable, but you didn't predict it.
Well, I mean, I think you and I were talking about those Shane and Stephanie being in the roles. I did think Daniel Bryan would be GM, which is still a possibility. But then, this commissioner thing. So yeah, I mean, nepotism and keeping it in the McMahon family, and he loves the drama. And that way, I'm sure a lot of people called it. But
I mean, it was. I think Angry Mark and I both kind of called it from way out.
Exactly. So there you go. But still a fun time nonetheless.
Although it's cool though, because Angry Mark actually had like the information on why Shane is going to be running SmackDown.
Right.
Talking about how like he wants to spend more time with his family, and he gets that extra day on the weekend to be able to be with them, and that's so cool to me.
Definitely, man. Absolutely.
Shane's a family man, damn it. Quite frankly.
Join the club. Kevin Owens did it first. But anyway.
Ooh.
Anything else you want to say about this?
How much would I bet Owens gets drafted to SmackDown by Shane?
Oh, I hope he powerbombs Shane right on the ring apron in front of his three sons. I really do. That'd be amazing.
Wow.
But, anything else you want to say about this?
Let's finish.
All right. Our next segment, high spots and low shots. You know what? I'm going to say my low shot's Heath Slater. Talk trash, lost to Titus O'Neil. You lost to Titus O'Neil. Like, bottom out. Damn.
Yeah.
Who's your low shot?
You know what? My low shot is actually, and this is weird because he won a match tonight, but my low shot's Sheamus because he beat the number one contender for the U.S. title tonight, and he didn't get an opportunity.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, talking about being dicked over. I mean, goddamn.
Yeah, like, dude, you realize you just beat a guy who ended up getting a U.S. title shot as soon as you beat him, right?
Yeah. Wow. crazy to think about. But my high spot, who am I going to pick for a high spot?
Zack Ryder, because he lost his way into a title opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really get a much better night than that. High spot, damn. You know what? I'm gonna go the safe route. My high spot's Darren Young.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kevin Owens for sure.
Because, he was kind of like Zack Ryder in a way. Like, he won a Battle Royal, and he wasn't even really a part of the final decision. Like, his problem literally took care of itself. And, like,
Yeah?
it's not a knock against Darren Young, but you got an IC title opportunity. You didn't even have to stare down Baron Corbin or Apollo Crews to do it because they negated each other.
Yep.
So, yeah, great again.
God,
man.
I wish Roman would have won the Rumble like that.
I know, right?
Would have been so glorious.
And then, like, if he was heel, he could just could have given this, like, knowing smirk to the camera.
Yes, the smug smile.
It's like, yeah, I know it. I did all that.
AKA the shit-eating grin.
So who's your high spot?
The freaking team of Febreze or Breezango or whatever you want to call them. They're so good, and they picked up a big win tonight over former NXT Tag Team Champions. Yeah!
I love how I pretty much, like, was just trying to weigh my options, and you went the route that you thought I was going to go with Kevin Owens with Breezango. I like that.
What do you mean?
So, well, yeah, I mean, you just thought I was going to pick Kevin Owens for sure, and I would have had grounds for that too, being a big fan and, him beating Cesaro. But you got to nurture your fandom with legitimate cause because they beat the Lucha Dragons, so that's what I mean.
I thought not only because of the fact that he beat Cesaro, but also because he got rid of Sami Zayn temporarily.
I mean, that's true, and I mean, I can't wait for the day he gets rid of Sami Zayn permanently, but we're not there yet, so I'm not necessarily going to give him the high spot, so.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see what Sami Zayn, we'll see what Sami Zayn's good shoulder
Who do you think you are, John Hideo Itami?
Well, I speak English better than he does, so no.
That's what I was, okay, that was the joke. You can't make it.
Well, I'm sorry it failed. But anyway, yeah, he'll take care of Sami Zayn permanently once that good shoulder's put on ice, much like the bad shoulder was in NXT. And yeah, but Kevin Owens can't be my high spot yet until that's completed. So, there you go. Yeah. But Breezango's your high spot, so we're going to go now to Raw Request.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Raw Request. Wait. Next week we have title match and GMs being named. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So I guess my Raw request is you've kind of put yourself into a corner with this WWE World Heavyweight Championship match situation. Be smart about it. And when I think about being smart, putting yourself in a corner, I think about the first matchup between Pentagon Jr. and Prince Puma that Lucha Underground had. And they had, Prince Puma get the win because Pentagon had him in a hold, but his shoulders were accidentally down. But they gave Puma the definitive win. I don't know if you should really do that here. I think different circumstances call for different solutions. But you've made this match. Now you've got to commit to it. So if you're going to do a no contest like I think you're going to do, maybe make it convincing. Maybe make these two be so aggressive and hate each other so much they do a double count out where they just don't stop fighting and they fight all through the arena. That'd be a cool image. Or just something that pops. That's what you've put yourself into a corner. Give us something that pops without screwing up your whole Battleground main event. It's a juggling act, and I honestly have no confidence in you to do it, but I'm going to trust you to do it anyway.
Dean's just going to win clean, and Seth's going to be in the triple threat anyway.
I know, right? Which would actually be, I guess, a really heel thing to do. Like, oh, I lost, but I'm still entitled to this anyway, so fuck all of you.
Yeah. My Raw request is don't let Charlotte cut a promo. It would be the first time in months, and I really want it to happen.
Much like Sami Zayn being gotten rid of permanently by Kevin Owens, I can tell you as well that's not happening. So I guess we both.
I mean, at least you conceded to my point, so I guess we're even.
There you go. But I guess with that said, there's only one segment left. 30-second hot seat. What question do you have for me this week?
Who are going to be the number one draft picks for each brand next week? You have 30 seconds starting now.
You know what? I'm just going to go the safe route. John Cena and AJ Styles. And then that's going to be their SummerSlam match because who's the better number one draft pick? Raw versus SmackDown, Styles versus Cena.
Oh, you made that way too easy.
You're damn right I did.
Okay.
All right, with that said, do you have anything else you want to say about Raw?
This was fun. I kind of feel like this was let me put it this way. The WWE could have gotten away with just kind of coasting through the last couple weeks because really nothing matters until the draft happens. And I feel like they put in more effort tonight than I expected, and I have to appraise them for that.
I'm right there with you. I think everything you just said echoed my sentiments perfectly. So with that said, this has been Raw. This has been TWitWoW. The best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Remember, the question down below in the comments is the 30-second hot seat. So who is going to be the number one draft pick for Raw and SmackDown, respectively? Get that conversation started. You guys already know all the stuff that you're supposed to join and do. Again, don't forget to get the It's Irrelevant t-shirt, the perfect way to show your indifference towards all the things in life, whether it's TNA, the latest NFL scandal, Roman Reigns' suckitude, whatever it is, it's the perfect 2 words to capture exactly how you're feeling. And
John, did you just say suckitude?
Yes.
It's irrelevant.
I know it. But just to promote everything we got going on, so guys, Wednesday, Ultima Lucha Dos, Part 2, live reactions, TitWoW and TwitWoW. Then Thursday should be the Cruiserweight Classic live reactions. Friday is our draft, our fantasy draft, and we're going to objectively talk about the draft. I already have my 2 made up. I think Ashton has his made up as well. And before, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. What I'm going to say is we're doing a Lucha Underground roundtable. It's us, the Last Real Heels, and Facelock Feministas. I believe you can expect.
Just to be clear, it's specifically going to just be the Lady J from Facelock Feministas.
Okay, the Lady J, who my opinions are going to reign supreme over her, and she's going to learn that my opinions have value, and if they didn't have value, then I wouldn't use caps lock nearly as obnoxiously as I do. So she's going to take a seat, she's going to listen to my opinions, and then she's going to agree, because that's how this works. So yeah.
All this tension that you're building up just kind of makes me think that she's going to be even more aggressive than usual to make sure that she gets her shit in, and you're not going to be able to get your shit in then.
You know what? Maybe. Maybe that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler, but I'll be damned if I let it happen without a fight. You heard it, Lady J! Come at me! I've been seeing your pod shots on your Lucha Underground reviews. I hear you. So, yeah, that's going to be a roundtable that comes, and that is going to be, what, Ashton, the 20th, if I'm not mistaken?
It is going to be the night of Ultima Lucha Dos Part 3, the big 3-hour or 2-hour finale. Yes, it is Wednesday, July 20th. We will be getting on, and I think we're actually going to be going live on YouTube. This is going to be the first thing that TwitWoW has ever done live on YouTube. As soon as Ultima Lucha Dos is over and we get our live reactions uploaded, so be on the lookout.
Yeah, guys, it's going to be great. The Lucha Clique coming together to talk about the greatest event, Ultima Lucha Dos. So, with that said, guys, we'll see you again for Ultima Lucha Dos Part 2 live reactions. And until then, tune in and peace out.